Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and I am excited once again to get started today. Blessings and greetings sincerely to all of you who tune in and join, whether it's live in my present or live in your present later, whatever platform. I hope you have fun. And I hope you do find some encouragement and inspirations for yourself so you can carry them through your own day, through your own journey in life. Because life, man, life's a trip, dude. It'll bring all sorts of crazy things into your experience and things you may want, things you don't want. But clearly you wanted some of this today. You wanted some of me. So please settle in, relax, and have fun. I truly, man, this life, I'm loving it. And what I want to encourage you to do, all of you, and these are words for myself as well, reach for the stars. Go ahead, give yourself permission. Go live your dreams and never think you cannot. Most limitations and regrets, if you truly humble yourself and you get honest with yourself, most of our limitations and our regrets and our worries, they're self-imposed, and we chose to give them faith. We chose to have faith in our regrets, chose to have faith in our limitations. Those two go together, by the way. You give faith to your limitations and you start making excuses become reasons, and then you're living in regret because you know better. I used to live that way. Today I live different, and I want to invite you to join me. Follow me in this way, so to say, but join me as you are, who you are, wherever you are. Surrender. Surrendered your mind to the concept and the idea, inviting in a Holy Spirit of life. Allow that Holy Spirit of life, the divine trueness and power, allow that to take over your mind. This is a practice I practice for myself. I surrender, Jack. And we'll get into this topic, escape and freedom, right? You don't know you're in prison until you experience freedom. And I didn't realize what a prison I'd created for myself in my head in the past. So I want to help you. If you can find the chains that are holding you back, you can see how little strength they actually have. The chains I'm talking about that hold us back is our mind, our limits, our own imagined paradigms. There's a Holy Spirit of life that reveals life through us, with us, for us, each moment. So remember often, surrender with acceptance, and then allow yourself to accept some gratitude for what you've made it through, what you've overcome, and then let yourself have some gratitude for what you intend to create while you're here, alive, on earth. What a gift this lifetime really is. No two are exactly the same, but there's a greater purpose for all things, and you and I, we are a part of the purpose that Earth generated through time and history and brought us forth into today. And by the convenience of technology and efforts, the labor and, creations of others, the technology we're sharing right here and now, what a gift. What a blessing today is. to receive the whole world as a gift? As far as I know, I did nothing to earn the right to live. But now that I have earned the right to live, I've been given the right to live each day. We live in a world that expects people like you and me to pay money to live. And I understand all the silly arguments about exchange of resources and value, but brothers and sisters, what America has become is not the land of the free and the brave. It's an open air, free range chattel system, slave system. It's an open air insane asylum and prison where men and women are in costumes, armed with the military and defenses of what? Holy cows, brothers and sisters. It's time for you and I and the world. Let's grow up. Let's overcome the fears. Because truly, fears are easily overcome once you know them. And all I've learned in my life through the experiences of time, all of my fears started with thoughts. It wasn't so much the facts, it was mostly the thoughts. So you have the ability within yourself to overcome your fears. You can push through them. You can be all tough, or here's the easy way out. Accept the words from the Bible as true, particularly the ones from Jesus regarding God being true, God being love. The commandment is love. Take that as truth for yourself. Repent. Repent from the old ways. Change your ways to become free with God. The Spirit of God, the Spirit of life. Well, God is, I don't want to confuse it. There is a Spirit, holy and divine, that's within each of us. It's uncorrupted. It's pure, and it's serving the purpose of the greatest good, whether we realize it or not. God is with us, okay? There's nothing to fear except the life you create for yourself. You start creating a life for yourself where you don't bring God into the equation. Start pushing yourself away from love because you got it. I got everything. I got the answers. I know the appearances of me. Praise God. Here's what I've realized, okay? Take the concepts. These words are words. Words are just pointing at things. But there is an absolute source of creation that's so powerful, so intelligent, so perfect, so glorious. It reveals its plan and purpose for life through that which it creates. So, from our perspective as human beings here on earth, we're limited by what humans have learned and studied. And all of our knowledge is just here on earth, right? We're just one little life experiment that's happening along with the beautiful wild nature that we've tamed. We've conquered nature. There's a divine source of wisdom that's available to us all. And each of us, we don't have to have all the answers in our life. But what helps lead us to the answers we need in our life? Love. Love leads us to the answers, whether we realize it or not, whether we're cognizant, right? Whether it's been brought into our consciousness or not. Love leads us through our life. But what limits us in our life is our own corrupted thoughts. the limitations we believe in. I can't change. I can't quit drinking. I can't lose weight. I can't find someone. I can't succeed. That can't attitude, get rid of it. Okay? Because the past, you cannot change the past. Simple as that. It is what it is. So you can resent the past, hate the past, hurt from the past. You can carry all the past forward that you want. It can't be changed. But the future, if you don't look away from the past, you may see hell on earth. Because what we see in the news today is a result of the past. The past is unfolding with us, and the past brought us to a world of immorality and destruction. Kill, steal, and destroy is the egoic and devilish agendas. Brothers and sisters, the God that created us, the Father that Jesus spoke of, that he was aligned with and united with, it is with you. It is with me. And I have a theory, right? I was thinking about this earlier. I think this is our purpose for life, is to discover what life might happen aligned with God or without God. God knows the results either way. I mean, it's just all within the hands, the womb, the mind of God. We're just experience of time. Can you settle into the moment and just rest in God for a moment? Doesn't mean you surrender life and you do nothing from now on, but if you want to escape the hells of the past, find freedom. Not in your mind. Well, freedom from your mind by settling into the moment, into the present. This is the practice of meditation as well, to train your focus of your mind to settle. Feels good to settle. And what I've done, this was a reminder I received recently. I think it was a lesson in a Course of Miracles. Mentally, physically, spiritually, I surrender me, my future, to God. God is the future. The future I want is God. So I can know God now if I unite with humility to love, loving the life I'm living, living my life to serve you, whoever you are. And the next human being who comes into my experience, I hope to be able to serve them. So we can uncomplicate our lives, each of us, and we can help each other do this too once we experience our own surrender and change. If you take the words from Jesus as the truth, repent, and you can be forgiven, forgive, you can find forgiveness and you are forgiven. These words are paths to healing. They're it's not intended, the doctrines and the words of the past, they're not intended to be excuses for us to fight each other. We're kind of missing the point of life. Life is about a lot of things, but without love, life is hell. I've experienced hell and heaven. Maybe you have too. So let's turn our focus from the hell of the past. Surrender our future to God. But trust, from here and now, if I surrender myself to God and I truly walk with faith and love, where might it end up? Because that's what I've been doing, honestly, for the past several years. Frankly, I don't feel I had a choice, because it was either surrender to God and accept what life was bringing forth, or staying sane. And I know there's a lot of people out here who like to call Jack insane. I've been judged and labeled in many different ways, but I guess I am insane. And I invite you, brothers and sisters, join me. Become insane. See, what would be sane would be your thoughts and words are limited by the society of today. I tell you what, staying silent or speaking lies, adding to the lies in this society of today, that's insane. If you know the truth, it is important for us to inform others. But if we're just informing others of the corruption and the problems of the world without actually bringing any solutions, what we're doing is we're adding to the problem, enabling the problem, giving problems more attention, and problems that get more, well, when you give nothing but problems attention, you feel like crap. How do you feel inside of you? Everything I've heard, everything I've studied leads me to this conclusion that God wants you and me to feel good. Our bodies are designed to identify pain, right? Pain and suffering is a catalyst for us to move and change. So our entire life is actually built and designed for avoidance of pain, seeking of pleasure. Now, if you're not paying attention, you'll get consumed by bodily pleasures that are actually poisons. Because I don't know if you've noticed or not, but in the shelves and in the media and a lot of stuff that we grew up with, it's not actually healthy. Much of it is not actually safe, even though it's been FDA approved and some authority said something about it. So, hey, market it. My days of whiskey. Holy cows, man. Holy cows. Praise God. You know, the notes I have today, originally the title was going to be Reconciling Truth with Love. Reconciling, allowing the existence and bringing together of the opposites, right? The wrong and right, they come together to reconcile what is the truth, what is the objective truth. Reconciling the truth with love. Anything done with love is better. It's simple and obvious. But convincing yourself to love what is ugly, to love what is painful, that's what God has placed us with. That's our purpose. To love the ugly, to love the painful, love your enemies, love that which makes your life harder until you can let it go. Because once you can let go of the hate or the label of hard or enemy, once you can let those labels go, you can breathe freedom, right? And it's through freedom, through breaths of freedom, through a calm mind without labels and definitions. That's where the divine answers will flow. So it's even told in the Bible, right? I point to that. It's not the only place. It's not the only place to go to know about God. Okay? Yes, you can call me a Christian or not. I don't care what you call me, but I prefer to be somewhat respectful. No different than others, but man, if you want to escape from hell, escape from the world, salvation is yours to declare. It's yours to seek. It's yours to receive through humbling yourself to truth, to God, the God of the moments, the God of life, walking with love in the way of Jesus, the Christ. It's not that complicated, but it'll be challenging. Um, that's what life is. Life is so simple, a child can achieve it. A child can make it through, not on their own, but the design of everything. The design of everything in this world can be used for us or against us. The choice is within. Do you claim your power and responsibility for your life, or do you give your power and your responsibility away? Do you only go to Facebook or your regular news sources to learn? Have you been trapped by the design of the algorithms so that you only find fear porn every day? Obviously, I'm assuming not. If you found your way to me, praise God, man, you probably got a bunch of inspiration. You got a bunch of enlightenment going on in your stream. That's what I've got. Media, media and technology. Think about history and the developments of media. It was before we were born, right? They developed the printing press. I don't remember the century. And then after the printing press, we got the so newspapers and publications were more accessible, books were more accessible, knowledge was easier shared. And then with the newspapers, the corporate minded folk know how good informing people can persuade them, right? So propaganda developed right after the newspapers and all this. And we got the radio. And then the next thing you know, you got the boob tube in everyone's living room, keeping everyone informed, right? Telling everybody the way things are. Conditioning, celebrity nonsense, corporations marketing to children so they create lifelong customers, Kool-Aid, Snickers, Cheerios, all this garbage that we give to ourselves and each other. Brothers and sisters, if you don't interrogate the thoughts that you allow time within you, interrogating those thoughts that come into your mind, into your experience, if you don't pay attention to what's in you, you're probably not paying attention to what you're doing around you. If you don't pay attention and interrogate the thoughts that come into your head, you may believe someone else's story over your own. There is no war in my world. Peace has already arrived long ago. There are no secrets in my world. We live by honesty where I live. So there's no excuses or blame in my world either. So I invite, let's share these worlds, because there are beings alive today who don't have the blessings that we have. They are living in war. They are living in disaster. They're not so happy-go-lucky right now, many of them, but praise God. Praise God, sincerely. With that, I'm feeling pretty chill today, and I have not been paying much attention to the chat. I debated since yesterday, what path am I going to go today? Well, truly, I'll invite those who are present to bring an open mind, an open heart into the discussions. I think my goals for my topic today are pretty simple. Holy cows. Well, you know what? So here's something I'm wondering. Yesterday I was challenged by many adversaries once again. And my frustration for the lack of respect they brought, it showed. So here in the back, my first three guests, I'm not sure they're bringing much different. So here's my thought process, right? Going through the day and confronted by people who want to oppose you. Do you engage? Do you dismiss? Well, each day is different. And I never know what anyone has experienced between yesterday and today, although I already saw comments from Papa Luigi. So let's see where today goes. Welcome, Tommy.
I was not happy with me yesterday, and I'm going to bring up a thing I found today that I'm not going to be paneling the longest into the future. I haven't said when I'll be backing off, but I want the chat and panelists to remind me when I forget that I found a stream that I could re-upload. It was back when Venus and Special K were some of my biggest supporters, and they sat in wonder as I wrecked Paul. And I don't know why I ever forget how many times I've wrecked him, and I don't have to continue because all that still stands. And so I don't know why I let him still just start fresh and get to me when it's like the stream I watched this morning is when I was like, oh, it's done. And any channel that hasn't seen this, they can just see this and it's done and see the basicness. He says 3 years now. Yeah, 3 years of him doing the same parlor trick of nothing.
Hey, thank you, Tom.
Oh, okay, Jack.
Welcome, Denizen. Well, Tom, what you offered, I don't see a relevance to me.
Because you're not sure if you're against him or not.
No, I'm sure I'm against.
No, he could show up and smile and wink, and you're gonna cuss right up to him.
Tom, you didn't let me finish. I said yes, I oppose his opposition to me.
That doesn't make sense.
It does. People have chosen to oppose me, to be against
you're
me.
just a guy. I oppose everything you're about.
I know. Hey, all right.
Well, you can change that.
I guess it's another chaos stream. Is that what you want me to experience?
Anything that's not everybody going, you were right, Jack. We'll do that, Jack. Is that chaos?
Yes.
Anything but submitting to the Talcottian will is chaos?
Actually, how about we try getting along with Jack just for once?
Oh, I can get along with you, Jack.
Can you show it? Can you prove it?
As long as you're not trying to misquote my Bible or tell me I have to end wars.
Here's why we don't get along. You think you're here to judge me and what I say. And
no, I hear what you say and know why you're wrong, and then you misphrase it as you're judging me.
Yeah, you know what, Tom, maybe another day. Please don't waste your time.
Literally the same thing.
Yep, it is.
I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to point out when you're wrong all the time.
Yep. Just like Chuck does. Just like Lou.
I'm going to correct you on that, Jack. I have not done that for a long time. I said what I said in chat because I believe it's true. You have some sort of hatred for me or you're afraid of me. I don't know which one it is. You know. I can only assume. So I've not brought you opposition. Several times I've come up in the last few weeks. I know. Not brought you opposition, but yet you seem to oppose me. Why?
Because you offer me nothing I want. Okay, I don't hate you, Lou. Please.
Well, how can you say that?
I've explained this many times. It's not just you. I see your heart. You have a great heart. But
don't plant me with everybody. Don't plant me with everybody. I don't sit in the same soil as everyone.
Lou, you're no different than every other human being. You're a human being. You're showing
we are all the same.
Please stop
and yet we're all different.
Please stop interrupting me, Lou.
Go ahead.
What I've said about you and Chuck and Paul and Tommy and many others, Lou, is I see your heart. I see that you care, but your mind is very confused. But you haven't seemed to care yet. It seems your care has been focused on trying to prove me wrong. And I don't understand that. Lou?
I'm not interested in proving you wrong, right, or indifferent.
Okay.
I'm just going to speak
That's,
what I see and what I believe and what I know to be what
but that's
is.
not, Lou, that's not accurate. In my experience, I mean, even in the chat today, you don't want to accept that I have love. What I don't have, well, it comes and goes. My patience comes and goes. I've been growing it, but obviously I still lack, and I'm improving my ability to communicate.
But
But
that's not loving.
Lou,
Impatience is not loving.
right, Lou, you make it very challenging for me to stay loving because of your behavior.
I don't control you, Jack, or do I?
You don't control yourself, Lou. You think you do, and then you want to tell me what to do, and I don't appreciate it. I don't respect it. And since you haven't been respectful of me, I don't have respect for you, Lou.
I have been, Jack, for a
So
number
you
of
say,
weeks now.
Lou, right. You want to ignore all the other things you've said. You want to ignore and stay in denial. You don't want
Aren't we supposed to stay in the
tell you
now?
what, Lou, I'm not going to continue. When you want to understand me, you'll try. How about you, Chuck? What are
I
you
came to
doing?
offer you an apology.
How so, please?
I jumped to conclusions yesterday when you said a certain thing. And you said that you were responsible and that you uh, took care of your alcoholism. For me, it was a different approach. God took care of alcoholism from me. But I remember I was reminded today that my dad was a drunk. However, alcohol didn't affect his life. His life was exactly the same when he quit drinking. He was an alcohol abuser. And I may have passed judgment upon you in that regard. So I want to apologize for jumping to conclusions.
Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate that.
Because I know for me, without God, I would not be sober. But yesterday, you claimed that it was because of yourself that you became sober. And it kind of irritated me. But then today on another show, I was reminded that may not be the case. You may not have been an alcoholic. You may have just been an alcohol abuser. So I have to keep that in mind, Jack. And I mean that sincerely. Because without God, I could have never sobered up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not being facetious or sarcastic or anything. I'm trying
I
to be
know.
honest here.
I know. I know you are. And
Yeah,
I'm silent because I'm evaluating what direction I want to approach this. Because I receive your words and I appreciate it, Chuck. The first thought I had was you're actually offering what I've been hoping to achieve with many people, a fresh start, an opportunity to reintroduce myself so I can get past some of these stupid labels and accusations and such. So I appreciate you recognizing that at least that time you may have jumped to a conclusion, but Chuck, I've clearly said it was by the grace of God. Okay, yes, my path was different. I didn't have God in my life until, you know, the story of Job. he had faith before his life transformed. Faith was I'd just gotten a taste of faith after I got sober, after I'd been working on amends, after I was improving already. I got a taste of faith. And well, so far, just like the story of Job, despite my claims of being a man of God, I've been blamed repeatedly for what I've honestly said. So thank you, Chuck. Tell you what, unless you've got something you want to offer, we've got other guests in the back that have been patient.
Oh, you want to throw me out?
Nope. No.
I'm
I'm
patient.
wondering,
I'm open-minded. I'm patient. It
what
was
can
just
you,
what you said yesterday that threw me off. And naturally, I found fault with what you said. But then I was reminded maybe Jack wasn't an alcoholic. Maybe
no.
he was just an abuser.
Okay, Chuck, I just explained me, and you're back to reminding you and me of what you thought before I told you.
Well, I was just trying to explain it, was
Okay,
all.
I know you've explained it already.
Okay,
So
move
now
on.
what? Now what?
I'm here with an open mind, Jack. So move on to somebody else and we'll see where it goes.
Is there anything you'd like to know? Well, the reason I ask is I'm glad you found that one, but you've jumped to a lot of conclusions about me, Chuck, not
Well,
just the one.
my conclusions were based on the words that you spoke before. That's
But
what led me to those conclusions.
I know, Chuck. I know why you've based your words. You keep repeating it, but you've also repeatedly ignored many of my explanations, and you've ignored the majority of my messages.
We disagree on the concept of God.
You disagree.
No, we each got our own interpretation.
You jump to the conclusion that you know mine is wrong.
I didn't say
I,
that. That's why I
I've
said open mind.
I've
You've
also noticed a pattern of Jack not questioning other people's idea of God or Christ, and if it's not going along with the message or narrative he wants, then he tries to add instead of negate. So
Thank you.
I mean, he's not a perfect man. He has many flaws, but that's just something I've noticed about him. He takes his faith very seriously, obviously, right? A lot of people
Yeah.
probably accuse him of being completely obsessed with it. He wears it all over his sleeves. And yet he does not take it personally when other people have their own view of what God is. As an atheist, I can tell you that from personal experience.
Thank you. Chuck has literally defended his accusation that I represent the Antichrist. Despite my many explanations and words, and I've tried resolving that in the past, but I'm going to be respectful and I won't press. I'm going to take Chuck off the spotlight and bring up these other guests.
Thank you.
Yes, brother. JG, you've been patient. What are you bringing today? Are you there?
Yeah, I just got done typing a comment. So Chuck, alcohol, like if you're an alcoholic, right? I'm an alcoholic. I abuse the shit out of alcohol. So what
Me
you're saying
too.
is there's alcoholics and then there's people that abuse alcohol. That's how
Yes.
you look at it?
Well, my dad was a prime example. His life was good to go, happy go lucky, whether he was drinking or not. And when he quit drinking, he was still the same person that he was, the happy go lucky fella that he was. I wasn't so lucky. I turned out to be quite the asshole when I turned into an alcoholic.
Yeah, but he still abused alcohol. It's like
Yes, he did abuse alcohol. There's no doubt about that.
I thought you. All right, I was just trying to pick your brain there and see where you
Go
were at
ahead.
with the alcohol versus abusing.
What makes an alcoholic then, if it's not the abuse of alcohol?
When it affects your everyday life is what I determine it as. That's just my own perception. When it
So you
affects
can
every, go ahead.
you can't be a functional alcoholic by definition, but you can be a functional alcoholic in practice. You can be someone who drinks all the time, drinks to excess, drinks to the point that it's abusive. But so long as it doesn't interfere with your daily life, then you're technically not an alcoholic, is what you're saying.
Correct. Correct. In my viewpoint, but that's just my viewpoint.
Well, I defer to your experience anyway. I would say uh, uh, maybe I agree because I think there was a time when I abused alcohol as well. So I definitely don't consider myself an alcoholic.
Well, when I drank, everybody paid the price. That's what I consider. That's just me, though.
My path, I started out as a heavy drinker on weekends. Started out at 15, carried through the military, and times progressed to daily. But the last decade of my drinking, it turned into an inescapable disease. I was trapped and I was diseased. I was having daily shakes so bad by the afternoon. The only thing that would cool it was a couple of swigs of whiskey.
Well, I kept a bottle of vodka in the freezer for the morning.
Well, I was a high bottom drunk though. By God's grace,
I gotcha.
I did drive when I was intoxicated. By God's grace, I had practiced when I was young. And I knew to pay attention and I knew to be to drive safely. But admittedly, there's probably nights I was, by God's grace alone, I made it safe and no others were harmed.
Amen.
And this is what I realized. This is why I try not to judge people. I've done stupid things myself, man. I could have ruined someone's life. I could have ended someone's life. But by God's grace, I didn't even lose my job. I didn't lose my job. I didn't lose my family. I didn't lose anything from my disease. But what I did lose was my self-respect, any joy from life. It was gone, completely absent. And I didn't have much willingness to continue. I wanted to die.
Yeah, how many times were you doing 100 miles an hour down the interstate looking for a telephone pole? I know what you're talking about.
I looked at bridges and telephone poles after I got sober.
Oh, shit.
I was still very depressed because my life didn't change. I still didn't have time with my son. I still didn't have money. I still didn't have relationships. I still didn't. And that was why I was still miserable. But I'm telling you, as it's described in the big book, or I used to know the page, they describe a powerful phenomenon, a spiritual phenomenon, an awakening, a shift of consciousness. I experienced that a year and a half into my sobriety. And I set out to know. First, I started looking into psychology, trying to understand what happened with me, how I could explain it. And I have. There's a lot of explanations for what I experienced. But it truly does, in my personal testimony, it all comes down to the grace of God. So
Up for the grace of God, there go I. Amen.
what I've been trying, what in the transformation of my life sincerely, Chuck, my life is a mystery. There's a lot of rumors and stuff about me, but I have been living by the Holy Spirit. It took me a long time to realize that's what I was doing, but since 2018. And I'm telling you, it's the only way we want to live is through surrender to God, seeking God's grace, because through God's grace, we find the answers, we find the solutions. And I believe God has graced the world of today with a lot of opportunities for everyone to heal our minds, to heal the generational patterns of abuse. My father wasn't directly in my life, but his path took him through alcoholism and heroin addiction. I ended up, well, life is what it is. And we're living at a time where it's a tipping point for mankind. It's my theory, based on what I've learned, that God's plan for humanity is salvation. So if we can surrender ourselves to God's plan for salvation, we can start with ourselves, repenting from the past, getting rid of our old ways of the world. And the ways of the world is this budgetary, regulatory policy. And
Now you're passing blame. That's blame in my book.
Chuck, why did you find blame? Do you have
Because you're
blame within you?
blaming. No, you're blaming
No.
budgets and regulatory.
I'm explaining what people are giving power to. People give their power to budgets and politics and economics, and
Well,
they give their
budgets
power
can be
away.
a good thing.
Chuck,
Budgets can be good.
Chuck, are you okay? No disagreement. There's value in order. Budgets serve a purpose. Budgets are imagined, right? It's ideas.
No,
It's
they're real.
okay,
They're
Chuck.
real.
All right, Chuck. This is the problem.
Do you not budget your own household income?
Chuck, can you
Yes.
not? Okay, I've given that there's a place for budgets. I'm not saying there's no place at all. Can you find how budgets are bad so that you can
No.
understand what I was saying? No, you can't see how budgets are bad.
If I don't create debt in my budget, I don't have debt.
That's not what I asked. You can't see the bad of people saying, nope, the budget limits me. I can't because the budget says I can't. You don't
That's
see
reality. If you only got
Chuck,
$10
whoa,
and you got to
What?
budget it,
Chuck, what is reality is in that example, the individual is giving their power away, the power God gave to them, the power to do good, the power to achieve something, the power to experience something. God's given, that individual has given their power away, says, nope, the budget says no. Do you realize that's what the U.S. government is doing with the disaster victims here in America?
I had the same thought.
Chuck?
well, if you break it down, let's just take a percentage. I think the defense budget is 12%. The social economic portion is 24% of the budget, more than twice of what the defense is. Now,
Chuck?
why they are not spending it wisely or better, I don't know.
Let's not worry about that. Let's look at the effects, because I present the case that money and budgets have been used as a it's a distraction, it's a deflection.
No.
Chuck,
If you got a household budget,
Chuck,
you have to live within
Chuck,
those means.
Chuck,
Then it goes
Chuck.
up and up. What?
Thank you
You're
for allowing the
conflating.
Thank you for allowing the interruption. I'm sorry for offering it. However, please recognize that this live stream here would be much more beneficial for others if we try to understand what I'm saying instead of you finding a disagreement with
Well, I'm
everything.
trying, but you're not giving
No,
me
you're
anything.
not trying, Chuck. You're doing what I'm saying. Can you see that you're interrupting and offering disagreements without trying to understand?
I'm giving you my perspective of a budget. That's all.
Can you accept what I'm describing as my personal experience with you right now?
I don't. You're talking in generalities when you're
No,
talking
Chuck.
about
No,
budgets.
Chuck. What I'm trying to get you to see is your behavior. What I'm experiencing here is interruptions and disagreements, which are actually distractions from what I'm discussing. You're not paying attention. You're not allowing yourself to consider the point of what I'm offering, which means the viewers probably aren't getting the clear message and point that I'm offering.
So what you're saying is I'm wrong and you're right. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that what you're doing here is unhelpful, and I've been asking you to please change your behavior, Chuck.
Well, then give some clarity.
If you cared to know, you would have already knew, but instead you want to continue trying to tell me what to do. Thank you for visiting, Chuck. I've had enough. I honestly don't even remember the topic now, where we were.
Well, I know when the disagreement arose, you were describing how budgets are used to control resources,
Thank you.
and that we have a bunch of psychopathic narcissists who are controlling our budget and government right now, causing a lot of the artificial scarcity and causing a lot of the wars and conflicts around the world with their budgeting.
Yes. Thank you. That is exactly what's happening. And here, my own life as an American, I get what Chuck is saying. I understand him.
Right.
He hasn't understood me. I used to live in fear and I was limited by my budgets. I sincerely thought I was doing a lot of the right things in my life, limiting my vacations, limiting my entertainment, because I was putting away for my future. I wanted my son and his family to have a better future than what I started out with. Well, life doesn't go the way we plan.
You basically were getting at it hindered your growth.
Substantially. I didn't realize it, but the comfort and security of not having to go apply for a new job, right? I had the benefit of a life where after the military, I think I sold cars for a while, and then I started at the post office. So I didn't have to go through the applying for jobs and re-exploring different careers. As long as I went with the rules, I was pretty well good to go. But what it was, I realized it a long time ago. One of the old timers at the post office told me one morning, he says, Jack, because I was worried. We were overwhelmed with mail, trying to get everything out, make sure nothing's missed. And the old timer tells me, Jack, chill out, man. This career at the Postal Service, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We make a decent living here, which we did. I didn't have a college degree, but I lived comfortably. We made a decent living, and he says, only half of the money is for the work. The other half is for the BS we got to put up with. And there was a lot of BS at the post office. There's a lot of BS at a lot of workplaces. But at least where I worked, I learned what it meant to have a family. to have a union, to have a representative body there with me, to be a voice of reason. And, you know, the union wasn't perfect. You know, there was a problems with it, but any organization is only going to be as good as the people involved. Well, there's a lot of good people in America, Canada, wherever I'm speaking. I know there's a lot of good people. And the thing is, unfortunately, while a lot of good people were doing their jobs and going along to get along, there was some evil people who have risen to power. And we are living at a time where, what are we going to do? Are we going to continue allowing the corporations keep buying everything up, turning us into nothing more than fictional identities, social security numbers, employee ID numbers, the capital letter name? It's all a game.
Yeah, we're not even consumers anymore. We're a receptacle for a consumer. We're like an ID container that holds consumer inside of it.
That's precisely what it is. But the other side of that is, because of the development in media, in the development of communication, we're able to connect with other people all around the world, and other people are sharing their life experiences. And many people have found themselves investigating the corruption, bringing a lot of this evil to light here in the world. We have the opportunity with the technology and the answers. I know how this sounds egoic, sounds delusional, but if you can let it be, I think I'm prepared for it. I have in my heart that God's been preparing us all, right? But I think my path has led me to these goals. I want to speak to the men and women in Congress, in the White House. I'd like to be a voice of reason for the workers and people all around the world. And I believe we have everything in place, provided we can get some willingness and cooperation. America can truly lead the rest of the world into reforms, into freedom, into true humanity. And we can start by getting some immediate aid to those still dealing with disasters, not only in our lands, but elsewhere. So how could we help that to happen? The world becomes safer, right? No matter where we are in the world. At a time of war, there is no freedom, especially when these nation states are picking sides and spending money gambling on the future outcomes. That's what these budget focused people have been doing. But the world becomes safer when secrets are no longer legal. That applies to the individual as well as the others. And if we have an idea to do something greater in our life, to change from the past and actually step out in a new direction, if we have that idea and we find a fear or an excuse that keeps us safe, keeps us in the old ways, we are keeping success a secret from ourselves. We're denying ourselves the opportunity to experience success and all that life has to bring forth, just because we give excuses power. That's what our American government has been doing, guys, giving the illusions of wealth and authority. They've been giving those illusions power. How? Manipulation of facts, distorted truth, And throughout time and currently today, many of the masses are being controlled and moved by fear. Fear and anger is driving a lot of men and women today. Not just in the governments and the executives, but many people on the streets, of course. They're being moved by fear and anger. When we're focused on fear and anger, guess what we're missing out on? The opportunity to love, the opportunity to unite, the opportunity to learn. Hey, Rick, I'm not sure which part that was. If you're resonating with some of these ideas of a world where selfish liars, where the masses are no longer enabling the selfish liars like Bezos, exploiting his hardworking people, exploiting the entrepreneurs, creating products, exploiting the labor of people overseas. These billionaires and the owning class that have been getting away with everything, they've been smart. But if we unite together, we can easily, peacefully, non-violently, we can confront the selfish liars and the secrets that protect their investments. And when secrets are no longer free or no longer legal, I'm real confident that there are technologies available. Will transform this world drastically and quickly. And I think that's the biblical prophecy. I think we're a part of it.
I honestly think that resistance isn't possible anymore. I think I hear what you're saying, Jack, but the way I'm seeing it and how powerful they really are, that resistance is just impossible.
Well, I'm of this. I don't give a damn about the odds at this point, because the odds have been against me for a long time. I brought this up actually for another reason. There's a Bobby back here. Bobby, what are you bringing?
Hi, Jack. First time listener.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are what your thoughts are. I'm kind of get to where you're trying to make a point, but I'm not quite sure what it is. I like what you're saying, but I'm not sure where it's going.
Well, the purpose is the end of wars, immediate reforms. They're available for the men and women of the U.S. Congress and other nations. The end of wars and immediate reforms are available to be chosen today. And I know the answer is we set the truth free and mankind can change.
Well, that's a very nice statement. But I guess my response is at no point in human history ever has there not been war. What makes you certain that the people alive today are going to be any better or worse than the people that have been around for literally tens of thousands of years? There's never not been war. So how is that going to stop with the politicians that are alive today?
Well, we've never had in our recorded history, at least, you're absolutely right. But throughout time, we've evolved beyond the state where we're exploring new lands here on Earth. And when we encounter someone of a different color or a different religion, it's not as confusing as it used to be. And with the technology we've got today, I mean, truly, every single problem humanity is facing, the solution is hidden behind secrets.
Yeah, but Jack, how is any human today, yourself included, myself included, any politician in power right now, any different than any other human that's ever existed? And there's definitely been people like you that want to stop war. but it doesn't work. Humans war on each other. We take each other's stuff. We make peace. We do it again. And there's nothing in our character that is going to change that at
How
all,
many, how
probably
many,
ever.
how
And I
many,
don't know what you mean by other planets, but we only have this one.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to understand.
Well, how many times have you done what you said? Gone to war and raped and pillaged?
I've never personally raped, pillaged, or killed anyone.
Right, right. And this is kind of the
But
point.
but I also know that I'm part of a much larger organism than myself, that is the human race.
Yes.
And
With
throughout history in the human race, there are no shortage of people that don't rape, murder, or torture people. They always exist, just like
correct,
the people that do rape, murder, and torture exist.
correct, correct.
And that, I'm sorry, Jack, is not going to change. And there's
Okay.
nothing
Well
you
then,
can say to
Bobby.
change that. And
All right.
there's
Then
not. Wait,
Bobby.
Jack. Let me
No.
finish, please. Let me finish.
Hey,
Let me.
no, you've already said enough. If
No,
there's
Jack.
nothing I can say to change it, you're in the wrong place, Bobby. You
Jack,
arrived at a
what
place
is it?
where you
What
can
is it you do? What is it you're doing currently that all the other politicians and all the other people's in power and all the good people are doing that you're doing or not doing? What
I
is it you
love that
think any one
question.
person can do?
Well, what I'm doing different is I'm living with God, truly. And the faith in God, faith in the truth, faith in the evidence that I've seen. I've seen enough evidence to know the evils of war. The only way they continue is because they're enabled. The only reason war is enabled is because people have been brainwashed. How have they been brainwashed? Well, through trauma and misinformation. The world of today, as I said earlier, most people, and in the past too, have been driven by fear and greed. Though fear and hate, right? Fear, hate, and greed. All of those things are signs of selfishness. But the true path, the way we're designed, is the way of the Christ and the Buddhas. The way is love. Love leads me to believe that my story of the past has prepared me for this purpose. My history as a man was in labor, organized labor, and as a veteran, Veterans for Peace, organized labor, ending the wage slavery that we were born into. It's in my heart, and I'd like to try, but I'm just one guy. You're right. That's why I'm online, Bobby, to
To
try
be
and
sure, to be sure, that's why I'm talking to you too, because I'm just one guy, like you're just one guy, right?
yes. But we know people, and they know
Ah,
people.
yeah, yeah, but that's the thing, Bobby. I can only impact the people I know and love in my immediate circle. That's the only power I believe I have over the world. And I also try not to. I try not to impose my perception of things on other people as best I can.
Mm-hmm. Well, you kind of imposed your doubts and disbelief on me today, but that's okay. I get a lot of it. And Bobby, sincerely, are you? I don't know you. Thank you for joining, by the way. I appreciate it.
You're
And
welcome.
if are you familiar with me much, or you just catch it recently?
I'm not completely familiar with you, but I've got a little bit of history on you. I've listened to your stuff a couple times.
Thank you. Um, I've become a man of faith, sincerely, faith in love and faith in God. And I never ever thought my life would lead me in this direction. It's not like when I was young, I felt moved or anything like that. No, I spent my life angry and confused. And when my life transformed a few years ago, I lost the security of the worldly things. I've been growing in my faith, learning surrender, learning patience, and learning grace. That's my most recent lesson that I'm trying to work on.
But how long, Jack? How long is that? Seriously, how long? Over the last few years, how are you feeling? You know, as a human, and your happiness and your well being and that kind of thing. How has that improved over the last few years by your faith?
Oh, I never knew living could feel good, not to the levels I feel. I mean, through the practices, what I've been learning, what I practice, prayer, meditation, some light exercise is all I do, but stretching and focus going within. I feel divine pleasure throughout my day. I've literally, this was part of the stream earlier. I encourage others, please. The idea of the gospel from the Bible, it's to repent and change your ways, turn to God, and with love. I've been practicing that. And I know there's, my life is bizarre, man. Sorry, I started answering a question. I took myself off track.
I hear you, man. I'm following you.
Okay.
I mean, if nothing else, everybody wakes up in the morning alive and breathing, which is a blessing in itself. And you want to live the best day you can every day, right?
Thank you. Sorry, I forgot my conclusion where I was trying to get to earlier. It's clear and simple. If you can conceptualize the ideas in your head, it makes sense, at least for me. There's the one light, the true source of creation. It unfolds time for us, with us, through us. And then that which is created is good. In the eyes of God, all is good. But there is the oppositional force that is there to oppose the creation and the flourishing of life. It is there to steal, kill, and destroy. And so there is a balance to the two of life and opposition. But the manipulation, right? The darkness can't create. It just takes that which is created and manipulates it and distorts it. We experience the creation of now. It's in reflection of the past that we learn. Consideration of the past lessons brings forth what we know within us. But the world of today, because of trauma and selfishness, this divisions, every household is separate because of budgets, and every household is paying the same corporations for the same service and infrastructure that's been there. But the past is where is the devil's playground. Where I found myself, I surrender my mind, my body, and my future. I surrender me and my future to God. And with that, the knowing of now, that's all I need to focus on. But the future I want with God, I hope to share some peace in this world. I hope that my prayer, I pray that the prayers of Jesus be fulfilled with me, that I be one with him as he was one with the Father, that I walk with the Father with wisdom and love each day. I pray that the rest of my life I live to honor God and Jesus. And what an idea. I thought it couldn't be possible, but then I started wondering, well, if no one else is doing it, why not me? Each of us come into this world with our different karma or different memories from our ancestors and our mom and dad, and then we start picking up all these memories, but it gives us a unique perspective on the world. My unique perspective, I'm just like everyone else. I'm not special. I'm not claiming to be special. But I am saying there's something special about this time in history. And if we unite together, the solutions are simple and clear. Doesn't have to be me, but if we can get some conscious people in front of the citizens employed in the US Congress and the other UN leaders, we can invite them to join our desires, our dreams for a world of peace and reform. And I think it's worth doing. Even if I can't succeed, I want to at least try. So, Bobby, welcome, my friend. This Talcottian journey that's unfolding is something different, that's for sure.
Bobby,
Tom?
you called,
Tommy
you
does not
called Jack
approve.
Bobby.
What's that?
Probably just a slip. Probably just a slip, but I mean, that's just the type of thing I catch. That earlier he addressed you as Bobby. He might be nervous, but Jack, the Bezos.
Yeah,
beef,
I think I was just a little nervous.
don't be nervous. These people are imbeciles. Jack, the Bezos beef you have with him exploiting the employees and such. I can see where they're losing jobs as he robots, but they're all voluntary application submitters. And during your monologue, I was watching this Elon bot bartend and look more useful than any Jack Talcott would ever be. If you've got 20K profit left in that house, why don't you get yourself a new advocate called a Tesla Atlas bot?
Interesting idea. I
But
don't.
Jack, whenever you talk about going to the people to get things changed that I keep saying is technically your enemy, if you achieved this, you'd just find yourself overboard in the middle of the ocean or foaming at the mouth after drinking your designer drink. Like they would just remove you because you're going to them to say, stop doing the thing I want to end. And you don't realize that's them.
No, Tom, this is the thing. You can't say what I would say. You've never.
No, I'm saying what you don't I don't care what you say.
Tom, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are you heterosexual?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm celibate.
I was gonna say because I don't think you've been with a woman in a while.
Why?
You can just hear it in your voice.
No, what a fucking idiot.
Well,
that's interesting.
I'm trying to think of when I have. It's probably been less than a year, but I don't know where it's relevant. But Jack, is what I'm saying is, what if I went to like, I'm trying to think of a good example. What if I went to the Crips and I was like, hey, I'm trying to end team drug dealing. Would you join me with my efforts to end team drug dealing? And they put me in separate trash bags and throw me in the river. That's what I'm kind of saying. Like, you go to the UN to end pedophilia and wars, and they'll just delete you if you're that big of a problem.
Okay. So I get deleted. It's worth a try.
Well, why don't you try? If you want to win a baseball game, don't go like bat against your team.
Tom,
I don't know how to analogize this because you can't understand it when I tell you
Jack,
straightforward.
Jack, can I ask Tom another question, please?
Please.
Why don't you? Jack doesn't have any rulership.
Yeah, because the
over
first
me.
one was a real banger.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's coming from the atheist.
I have my own perception of things, and I ask the questions I ask. So you can either listen to it and answer it, or you can ignore it. So why are you celibate, Tom?
Because I'm a Christian on a narrow path that not all Christians are required or have to do.
So you're celibate by choice?
Well, that's what celibate is.
Well, not technically. You could be celibate, and
You're
it's not your choice.
incel.
No, you can't.
Incel is against your will. I am still fighting off occasional vagina offers. And then I'll admit, in my faltering, sometimes I catch myself, hey, you're dropping lines. Move on.
And how long have you been celibate?
I wouldn't know the date, but I know I'm just in the conscious effort.
Gotcha. Does it interest you? Does it interest you? No, go ahead, please. Please, I'll stop for a minute.
No, I just
Actually-
said that was better than the first question.
Here, actually, Bobby, I'd
Yeah.
like you to consider why you're asking Tommy about his sexuality, considering the context of what I have been talking about, ending wars, bringing immediate reforms to the corporate
Jack,
and government structure.
I have my own thing in this panel, bro. People come at me. It's what
I
they
know
do.
you're an
Well,
interrupter.
hey, Jack, I hear you. I hear you. And Tom and Jack, it wasn't so much a question based on the topic. It was a question that popped into my mind as soon as I started hearing you speak, Tom. So the question that you should be asking me is, how would I even know that just by hearing you speak for a second?
You
He
didn't
didn't,
know
that's
that.
the
And
answer.
if I had a nickel for everyone that wants to play you're a gay incel,
No,
I'd
Tom,
have
I did not say that.
It's the
I did not
oldest,
say that.
stupidest thing on the internet right
No,
now, Bobby.
nope. You're mistaken. Sorry,
No,
I did
it-
not
it
say
really-
that.
No,
really
I'm
is.
saying
I'm
you.
sorry,
I don't
it
care. I don't care if you're gay. So I don't care if you're gay,
You
lesbian,
fail
bi. I don't
to
care what you are.
realize there's not a lot of respectful ways to imply someone might be gay or incel.
Well,
Well,
you
What does
see,
that
I
have
don't.
to do
Yeah,
with
but I
what's
wasn't
going
trying to
on in
imply
the
anything.
world?
I think you sound
You did,
very
Tom.
uptight.
You did kind of step in with a heavy vibe though. As soon as you came in and started in
Well,
on
I'm a
Jack.
regular.
Oh, whether you're a regular, what does that have to do with anything? I'm a human being. You are. We're talking.
Because some first time caller ain't gonna walk. Okay,
Mom.
you walked into a bar, you saw two guys punching each other, and you had something to say about it the first time you went to that bar.
Yeah.
That's a real situation. I would be a real person if I did
Yeah,
that.
real none of your damn business.
No, Tom, you're delusional.
It is my business, Tom, because I've been invited to be on
Jack,
this talk.
delusional is
Tom.
acting like you and I just met.
No, Tom, delusional is getting up each day and remembering an argument from the day before and wanting to fight. That's delusional.
Well, just because
That's
we
what
lose
you're
consciousness and the sun goes down doesn't mean a thing goes away.
You're
Delusional
right,
might be
Tom.
delusional might be
Tell you what.
divorcing a woman and still wanting.
You're not listening again, Tom. This is our problem. The world doesn't listen. People don't listen to each other. They talk at each other when they get caught up in their mind, in their arguments. Your heart has been absent from the conversation, Tom. I mean, I don't know where Bobby was going, but Tom, you brought in an energy. You're clearly uptight.
Oh,
Jack,
Guys, that was my point. Tom, I'm sorry, brother, but that was my point. You did come into a conversation with a heavy negative energy. So I was kind of
here earlier. And did you watch the whole stream? I was already here once.
No, like you said, Tom, I'm just a guy who walked into a bar.
Okay,
Is
so
it your
where do you
experience,
get
Bobby,
the
that
tenure to
homosexuals
stand
are
on the
uptight
shit you're standing on?
and negative?
Yeah, that time it had nothing to do with your. I don't care what you do or don't do with your sexuality or lack of.
I don't care if you care, but you put that vibe out
You
that
brought
you
it up.
wanted to say,
Well,
Tom, are you gay?
Tom,
When's the last time you had pussy?
Tom, honestly, I was trying to check your vibe. You were a little heavy and a little negative.
Is
I'm
it your
heavy.
experience
I'm
that
not negative.
homosexuals are heavy and negative in your experience, Bobby?
And
Is that
No, I've got no problem with homosexual, gay, transgender. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Everybody can be nice or angry. I don't give a shit. But
that was
Tom
the
is
first
angry.
place you went.
Does anger equal
Yeah, because
bad for you?
Tom stepped in the middle of a
I'm
conversation.
angry too. Does that make me a homosexual as well?
Hey, Dennis.
No, because I can tell in your voice you're not.
Well,
he can tell by the voice.
You engaged.
You can tell by the voice.
You got to look at the shoes.
What's up, Jack?
You know what? God damn it.
What if that's true that I actually can tell by your voice and that quickly? What if that were true?
Peace.
What if it were true? I don't understand the question. You know,
It
it's
would
not,
be
right?
it would be irrelevant. I mean, if the issue is to confront the energy, his sexual history is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
The behavior, I think, was the issue, and it got off on a side issue. You know what? I want people to have fun. I really do.
Yeah, I'll go do that.
But you're not paying attention to what I'm doing, what I'm really saying. What if? What if we can play a role in bringing some inspiration, some actual encouragement for reforms? What if there is a way to speak with the men and women of Congress like human beings? What if there is a way to reach their hearts and open their minds to the fact that they're failing us? I mean, we could keep building our separate communities and keep fighting over different directions. But the agendas that have been in store, they're openly shared. There's so much evil and corruption in this world. It is undeniable. Yes, it's a big problem. Yes, it'll require a lot of people to be involved. Let's start. Let's see what we can do. I know we're nobody. We don't have the power. We don't have the connections, but we know people. And the different people we know are associated with different groups of people. I share my explanations and ideas often, but the ability to grasp them seems to be lost. Where I'm at in Spokane, I'm sure my town is much like many others. Through the churches, they have a network and connection for communication just among their churches throughout the whole world. Then you get the labor associations together, the labor council, go to the greater scale. My experience brought me to that benefit. We could create a call to action in many different ways, online through different organizations with the simple purpose. It's time for accountability and responsibility. It's time for honorable leadership to rise. Harris and Trump they're not people I would say, yeah, that's me. They represent me and my will. The truth is God's will for us all. The truth shall set us free, individually and collectively. When we humble ourselves to the truth, with love, the answers come. That's the way life works. And I've loved this life and many of the answers I've received. Some of the answers we don't like. Like I didn't like what was happening in my life, but I found ways to accept it, to enjoy it. And now I want to share the love I feel for life with all of you, everyone. Because this is our one time to live. What are you guys feeling? I have Mr. Tarek and Mr. Luigi in the back. Let me at least see what they say. Tarek, welcome.
Jack, how are you, sir?
Feeling blessed.
That's
State
good.
your purpose. I'm just playing.
With me, it comes that way sometimes. I don't.
It does, right?
I don't mean to be such a dick. I really don't. Tarek, thank you.
Me, I'm not. I'm not at all. No. I like Denzin's actually humor a lot.
He's right. That's how I present it.
No, I do. But I got a question, Jack. Okay, so you and Tom are going back and forth. I'm looking at it a little bit like every time I turn on the YouTube, I said, let me see what Jack or anybody else is doing sometimes, just to see if there's something that can, bring you awareness to whatever message you want, right? So I looked up a little bit, worldwide how much it costs for all the forces, military, army, all. It's $2.4 trillion. So this is how much it costs for worldwide military, navy, you name it, right? So my point is, it's not like I'm against you. I don't think anybody's against your idea. But I know for a fact, like me and myself, if Cynthia's little bubble gangsters, Big Lack or whatever, if I mess with them a little bit and they want me out of the way, I'm sure they can do it. So what? How are we going to achieve that by going to cons? I just don't get it. That's the only thing I'm confused about.
That's a good question. My honest answer is I don't know. But what I have imagined is here, I'm going to mute you. What I have imagined is there are some senators who I've learned of and seen that might be open. Bernie Sanders, I'm not promoting any one, but my history, he supports the Postal Service. I was a career postal employee. He supports the veterans. I'm titled as a disabled veteran. He's standing against the corporations and the corporate greed. Well, a long time ago, I thought he might be a way in. If we could get his attention and a couple others, because no one congressman, no one president is going to do anything. But if we can bring some conversations, not just in some small little hidden congressional hearing where there's just a couple president, I think it's time. I mean, the U.S. Congress just hosted the state official from Israel at a time when there's a lot of question about his agendas and the execution of his military. So Congress just hosted what has been identified as a war criminal. Netanyahu got to speak. So how about a voice from the people? And if a voice from the people came, what I wanted to present, actually, I forgot. I was gonna email him last night again, but I'd love to stand next to Bernie, maybe because his peers are not listening to him about the evidence of the corporate greed. If we can end the battles in Congress between the left and the right, the Republicans and the Democrats, get their focus off of the budgets, they can stop making excuses. And personally, I would love an opportunity to have a conversation with the men and women serving in Congress and have them explain what are the reasons, simple terms, what are the reasons that war cannot end? What is preventing immediate reforms to create a more just and safe world for us all? There's nothing preventing us from changing except our relationship with God and the truth.
Would you mind if I gave my perspective on it, Jack? I'd like to just say that I would love to end all wars. I don't know about secrets because everybody has secrets. And I think if you made secrets illegal, you would create a really big problem for just a regular person. But as far as wars go, I believe I have a possible solution. Personally, I could be completely wrong, but I believe that if each man individually decides to say, no, I won't go fight. As a man, as an individual, standing on what's true, standing on what's right, that is the way that wars can end. Because if we leave it to the people that are running the wars, that are profiting from the wars, it's like that, what's his name was saying, Robbie or something, they're not going to end that. They would never allow that. They would just end you if you got too up.
That was Tommy.
Right. And again, you're dismissing what I'm saying. So let's play around with
I'm not
your
dismissing
idea.
that. I'm just giving my perspective.
You're not considering what I've said. You want us to consider your perspective, and I've considered that as well. How do you convince a career policeman, a career military man? How do you convince them to walk away from their career where their wife, their children, they're receiving health benefits, and they're comfortable. They're not doing anything wrong. They've got a job to do. So how do you make it safe and actually encourage all of these active duty servicemen and women to become conscientious objectors? How do you convince
You know what I just realized?
millions?
You don't.
It's literally, it makes more sense for you to
Right.
try to convince the psychopaths than it does to convince all the good people.
Yes.
It really does make more sense. It's way easier.
Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. You must
No,
be.
it's not, Lou. No, it's not, Lou.
I didn't
What
say
you're
that's not.
saying,
I said it's.
Denizen, thank you. This is what I realized. If the world has been conditioned into obedience, well, it's true. So let's go to the people who think they are thinking. Let's go to the decision makers, the one at the top who are
the ones
telling
that actually do make the choose all of everything for all of us, essentially.
That's it.
So if you get rid of those that are in charge now, that are running the wars, that are profiting from the wars, if you get rid of them, what makes anybody think that there wouldn't be the next
Lou,
ones to take over that are already
that's
ready
not
to take
right.
over?
Lou, that's not what I'm talking about. That's the old way, the ways of wars. Get rid of those people. No.
Well, that's what you're saying.
No, it's
No,
not.
he's
Lou.
never said that.
No. I'm
Okay,
saying,
maybe I misunderstand.
thank you. I'm saying the people within the system have the opportunity to use the system to change the system. And when the system changes, it no longer protects selfish liars. It no longer rewards the greedy and the corrupted. With honesty and transparency, workers will actually have a chance, right? We're the land of the free, but a man goes to his job and he clocks on. Now he can't say shit. If he does, he's going to lose his health benefits, his security,
Even his respect in his own community. He'll be
But he
shunned by
could
his
choose to
so-called
do.
friends
He could
That's
choose to
me.
do
and,
other
and left
things.
out by his community simply for not having employment.
Why does the man have to be involved in that job with that company or that organization? He can
Have you
become
lived
his own
under a-
man.
Lou.
Have you lived under a bridge?
Oh my God. Yes. He
And if
thinks
if that's what's necessary.
No, Lou, you're so. I don't know how to communicate with you, Lou.
All I'm saying is, Jack,
I
is
know
that
you're always saying, and you're not paying attention.
I'm just trying to say that
I know.
without the individual taking charge,
All
and
y'all just
standing,
want to hear each other talk. You just want to hear each other talk. You don't want to talk to anybody else.
What do you mean hear each other talk?
what the fuck are
You
you
just want to
talking
hear
about?
That doesn't
yourself
make any
talk.
sense. Okay, that's
You
the
just want
opposite
to
of
hear
what you
yourself
said.
talk, brother. No, you just want to hear
Who-
yourself talk.
Who are you
You're
talking
to me? Do you
to?
even know the name of the
Lou,
person you're
Lou.
talking to?
You talking to me?
Yeah, I think
No,
so.
I do not. I'm listening to you. I don't care what you're doing. I know
He
somebody
said
wants
all
to
of us.
When's the
You're
last time you
I'm
had a
always
cock in
hear you
your
talk
mouth?
because your internet doesn't work.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you should take the cocks out of your mouth. I could
Hey,
smell
Lou.
them from here.
Hey, Lou. What I think he was pointing at is what he was pointing at. I think is true, Lou. Hey, Bobby.
Just mute
Bobby.
him, Jack. He's
Yeah.
retarded.
Bobby, I appreciate you joining and what you've brought today, but your connection is severely dropped. You're not coming through now.
What?
So can't hear you. I'm gonna, if you want, I dropped you in the back. You're welcome to try and reconnect. See if we can refresh the connection. But Lou,
Two more down.
Lou,
Nice. Yes, sir.
what he was observing, I believe, is fully true. You and others join this live stream to hear yourself talk.
Did you just spit on the floor?
He's outside.
I think he was inside.
I just came outside, dumbass.
Yeah, but you spit on the floor before you came outside.
I'm in a work site. I'm in a construction fucking site. I Are you retarded
Yeah,
like completely, or is it something?
that was obvious. That was
Have you
obvious.
always been retarded, or is it a condition that came on later in life?
What you're saying now is retarded because
Yeah.
it was obvious that you were in a construction site. It's still the fact that you hucked one up and spit indoors and waited to be someone else's home that I found
It's my
somewhat.
home.
I don't know.
It's my home. I can spit on
Oh,
my
well,
floor
that's
if
even
I
better.
feel like.
That's even better. That's
Are
even
you the
better.
police? Are you the police?
I'm just a
Come
guy
and
who
give me
asked
a
you if you spit
spit
on your own
ticket.
floor, buddy.
Come and give me a
That's all
spit
I am.
ticket.
That's all
you
I am.
fucking cuck.
What are you doing, Lou?
He's
I
got
don't
a
know.
lot of
It's like
problems with
all I'm trying to do
homosexuality.
is say that a man has to stand for himself. If men don't stand for what's true and what's right,
Hey, Lou.
no wars are going to end ever.
What?
Because you got all these.
You keep saying you're standing on things just like your little daddy, Paul. You guys say you're doing
Just
things.
true.
You're just talking, Lou. You're not paying any attention to what I've been saying. It's clear. Denizen, you're picking up what I'm trying to offer. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know this. It's just obvious logic.
Yeah, if it is going to change one way or another, if by convincing people and not through more war and destruction, it would have to be the psychos that get convinced. It's in their interest or to change their minds to do things a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree. That means you have to be just like them, Jack, and you're not like them.
No, this is the thing. The only reason there's a billionaire class is because the masses were taught to think like them. Look online. Look how many people are experts in someone else's rules and regulations. The only reason there's a billionaire class is because the masses have been convinced that selfishness is okay. And as long as selfishness is okay, well, wars are okay. It's okay for people to fight. That's just human behavior. Yeah, for primitive beasts who are out of their minds, primitive behavior includes rape and war. And let's face the facts. What's happening in these war zones is not just the military. It is innocent men, women, and children who are bringing chaos and suffering, not by their choice. There's men, women, and children fleeing the war zones, trying to get to safety. But hey, war was brought to them. Why? Because someone in a position decided that there was a reason, an excuse to go to war. So if we stop believing that wars and secrets are allowed, we'll end our battles and we'll respect honesty. That's what I've been doing for myself. And I'm telling you, life doesn't
Jack,
have
can I
to
ask
be
you? Go ahead. I'm
complicated.
sorry.
No, please go ahead.
No, I want to ask you one question because I know Denzen is good with computers and I am too. Now, let me ask you a question. A computer pretty much is pretty much like a human being, right? So if the computer was designed, now I'm talking in a little bit metaphorically, if the computer is designed by the designer to work a certain way, right? And then the computer notices a virus. What the computer does automatically when they want to is to eliminate the virus. So
I mean, to
the
be fair,
program can never.
computer replicates a virus.
I
That's what
understand
it
saying
does
this.
naturally.
Yeah, what I'm saying to him is though, the people that made the computer themselves put it where you can't mess with their computer.
Well, they designed a system to be resistant to people like Jack.
Yes, exactly. I'm just trying to speak in words. Maybe I'm not languaging it right, but I'm saying if they notice a virus, they will just eliminate it. So no threat. That's all I'm saying. Nobody's against you ending wars. Everybody, I think, would be against ending wars. I can't see anybody that's not.
Really? You haven't witnessed what I've experienced? People coming up and insulting me because they don't believe wars can end or should end?
Well, I noticed that, but I'm saying is, I
Okay,
think some of
so
those people are like, it's more of an ego, pity, whatever you want to
right,
call it, games. Yeah,
right.
but
But it proves there are people who think they don't want wars to end. And what I've been describing, Tark, is just what you said. These are evidence and examples of egoic people trapped in their head. They think they're thinking, but they're not. They're thinking about their thoughts more than the experience we're sharing. And most people have been conditioned with limited thoughts. Limited thoughts bring the feeling. It's just a big cycle. I understand people very well, to be honest. I feel that way.
yeah. The analogy I gave was trying to say is their computer is their system, and for you to get in their computer, Jack, you be a threat, and they will eliminate you or and me or anybody. Now, if you
So,
had your own system, your own computer, that would
but
be
I don't.
different.
Right.
And
But
nobody
we don't.
does. I don't think anybody does.
Right. But we're all trapped within this one system of,
Exactly.
right. So even though it's challenging and, you know, I a long time ago, right? These ideas of trying to share the solution, share objective, to share explanations. I had these ideas years ago, and I've been trying to find a way. And I actually thought if I succeeded, I'm trying to do what many others are doing and have done. I used to think that, well, Jack, maybe you step out, maybe you get taken out. Well, I've explained my story. I lost everything. I have nothing to lose. So, what prevents people from getting behind the idea? I mean, I'm the one who's willing to risk it. I'm just looking for introductions. Anyone you think might be helpful, please help an introduction happen so we can share these ideas of ending wars, bringing reforms, not in some far off, distant generation, but if we tried, I think we could interrupt the political and economic shit show before November.
I like the word interrupt. I like it a lot.
That's what miracles are. Miracles are interruptions from the norm. Miracles are spontaneous, transformative. They're powerful. From God's perspective, I can assume miracles are ordinary. If you
I've
take
witnessed miracles by that definition. That's obviously that's a Jack Talcott, elaboration, which, I can appreciate, as you're aware. And that's why I mentioned that,
Thank you. Miracles, they're everywhere. If we can allow our mind to open to the miraculous, we'll find it's abundant. Life is a miracle. Every relationship we have is an expression of love. Uniting together is an opportunity to share wisdom, to share life lessons. But the world we were born into, it's been so divided. Neighbors don't talk about what's going on in the home because, he's got a reputation to defend. We've got corruption all over the place. This disease of poverty and addiction, it's the individuals who are paying the price, those people sleeping in the street. And I know addiction is a choice, but the world of brainwashing has made escape seem like the way. And here, that's the topic of today. I used to escape my problems in the world by drinking, by gambling, by womanizing, by entertainment. I would escape the world because I couldn't find anything good in myself.
And I believe we all go through that, Jack. Just to point something out, I know you get attacked for a lot of shit. True or not, I don't really care. That's nobody's business. That if every man that gets on this panel is lying, that say they never been through stuff or drank or did this and that, and certain things I'm sure we're not gonna do. I'm just saying in general, the general stuff, they'll be lying to you. Everybody's been through these things, drinking, drugs, you name it. I mean, in general. So for somebody to come and attack somebody if they're alcoholic or drug addict, I think just look in the mirror and you'll understand.
Well, all these people are attacking. It doesn't have to be about alcohol. I've noticed every single person that lines up to come up here and attack is attacking their own behavior in the mirror. I haven't seen an exception since the day I met Jack.
Brother,
you know what I think Dan doesn't know is that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think. Well, I speak for myself. I know for a fact, me and probably others are not against wars. I think somebody brought it up to Jack is the mission is kind of like I think Lindsay did one time, where she said the mission is so big that you must start a little narrow, which makes sense. Maybe he can start in the community and do stuff, and he is involved in the community with the veterans and going to city council, which is good. But what I'm saying when I told you it's 2.4 trillion, I also forgot to tell you it's about 100 million forces on the ground. So what would you do with these 100 million people out of the population? Say we have to stop wars, it would take like I wouldn't even know how to do it. Like you have to take baby steps to get there, and then you have to also understand that you're not in the system, you're a threat to them. So it'd be more of an intellectual way of doing it, where Denison was saying how viruses mutate. Yes, you have to take the same approach. You have to mutate your whatever you want your message to be somebody else, and then little by little it'll get bigger. But you also have to do it where it's not a threat to them.
I don't know why you're perceiving a threat. Well, that's just it. You're perceiving I would be taken as a threat by them, but you're kind of missing what the value that could be found. Think about it.
That was huge. Go ahead.
If say this happened, say somehow Jack or others find a way to get the attention of the sitting members of Congress and the American government, we can present them an option, right? We've got an outside perspective. We don't need to know all the details of what they do, but we know that there's problems. They have a choice. Those members of Congress, whoever it is today and whoever it will be after November, whatever, whenever it is, these people, every one of us, we have the opportunity in our life. What are we going to do? Do we want to make the world a better place, or do we want to just be one of the masses going along to get along? Now, those men and women of Congress, they can obviously say, well, I'm not one of the masses. I've already risen. I'm something special. Well, here's the thing. The truth shows they have the opportunity to do more, to actually become heroes in the evolution of history, to bring true reform into Congress, to set the American dream free to be lived with honor and integrity, morality at the forefront, no longer lying, right? The government, anyone who keeps secrets and tells you lies, can you trust them? No. Yet we have men and women employed by taxpayers obediently following the instructions of their bosses, deciding what should and should not be shared with you and me as adults who are allegedly a part of this government, right? We've got democracy, so what are we doing? Equality is available when we treat each other openly, honestly. I mean, that's what our communities, our governments are missing, is honest and open discussions. So what if we have some honest and open discussions with a few citizens of today? Because I tell you what, it was written into the past. While we have this land of freedom in America and what it was intended for, the government is there for the people. It's of the people, for the people. And the time has come where the government structures have proven they are failing in their duties. These entities called corporations, they took over our government a long time ago, and these corporations are still, we have government imposed sanctions which harm the average people of many different nations. The US government, by strategy and manipulation and choice, their intention is to make the lives of other human beings in other nations miserable so that they'll do the work and overthrow the government that the US representatives don't like. It's all a crazy, sick game that has been going along. And I never realized how evil the war industry was, the prison industry. I never realized how evil the education industry is. There is so much knowledge available for us to learn. This is our life.
Okay. I agree with you, Jack. I'm not saying I don't. And one thing I would like to say real quick is when I said the threat and you said something else, what I mean by that is, let's just take all the people that are up there, okay? Their bank accounts, their $1 million homes, the way they live, and there's a lot of them. Those lives would have to change to our lives pretty much for them, for like your message and our message to go through in terms of ending wars. That would be the threat to those people. Like, hey, I'm not going to go down to making, say, 50,000. I'm ready at a 5 million or a 10 million, whatever you make in a year. And now, because of that, and I'll give you one more example. Like this happens till now in Saudi Arabia. If you commit a crime and the crime is, say, severe, they will forget hang you. I won't go in details. They will cut things off of you in front of people after the mosque on Friday, in front of everybody. It's a scare tactic.
Right. Yes. So you're not thinking about the benefits. You're thinking about the problems, Tarek.
No, I am thinking about the benefits. The benefits are humongous, Jack.
You're not. You're not thinking about the benefits of success.
Okay.
Because success would be immediate reforms and restructuring of the criminal distribution system we have. That's all an economy is. See, and here's the thing. I can explain this stuff in so many ways, but what I haven't found is people either able to do anything or willing to do anything. So
okay, Jack, would you say, you said I don't see the benefits. I see the benefits. I think Dennis doesn't see the benefits. I'm just assuming. Everybody sees it. Well, let me finish one second.
Why are you finding problems with?
No, it's not problems. You're wrong. I'm not saying problems.
You're not offering any solutions.
There's no solutions. My solutions are not going to work for your thing. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. The reason why being is
you're not.
You are going straight to. Okay, go ahead. I'll yield. Go ahead.
Well, Tarek, I'm trying to point out to you that what you're doing is a deflection. You're not actually considering the results of a world without wars.
You're deflecting. I just said to you, I understand the results and they're so beneficial and good to people that everybody should live that way. What you're doing is deflecting on the process to get there.
Tarek, what I'm offering is you know what? We're 2 hours in. Another day, I guess. I'll try again in the future. What I'm hoping to do is have conversations with people who believe that wars are not necessary. Because if we can agree that wars are not a necessary evil, that we don't want to live with evil anymore, those who agree with me, the next step in our conversation is let's get creative. Who do we know? Who might be able to help? What would be helpful? What could help this to happen? I've got plenty of evidence and records of my own past efforts, and I'll keep trying.
All right,
So,
I want to get there, Jack. I'm just letting you know. But whenever you're ready, for you, not me, just sit and understand the process to get there. Let me know because I'm on board. But I don't think you want to explain the steps to get there. For
well,
some reason, I don't know why.
you're partially right, Tarek. Partially right, because at the same, I've been learning about what does and does not work for me, right, in communicating with people. I know for a fact that my purpose is to help others know how to live and how to think for themselves. So that's what the Holy Spirit does. So if people will trust what I'm trying to teach, try to incorporate some of these things in themselves, they'll think of ideas on their own. But I've tried this, Tarek. I've tried hiring people. I've dealt with people's egos. The ego wants to be told what to do. No one needs to be told what to do, but if we want a world of peace, there's a path through the American government and the UN, and the solution that will bring peace to the world is no more secrets, no more lies. Simple as that. It's what transformed me, and any path of enlightenment you pursue, it's going to suggest be true, be honest. That's it. That's the only expectation I think that God really has on us, is that we be honest and true. But hey, I do feel like wrapping up. I want to thank you, gentlemen. You got any thoughts before we do?
No, I'm good, Jack. Thank you for having me on. I just want to point these things out and let you know. Like, I don't think I speak for myself. I'm not against against stopping wars at all. I just sometimes see it differently, just in terms of from here to get there. Uh, it's different than your perspective, which is fine. But maybe for another day, we'll try to chop on it a little bit. I know you're tired, and besides that, have a nice day, and see you tomorrow.
Blessings, brother. Thank you for
Yep.
joining. Denizen, thoughts from you?
Yeah, it occurs to me that most of the people who are resistant to your ideas and your message, or these ideas in general, right? Because you're not the only one talking about peace, right? This is lots of people tried to sell that message going all the way back. They don't even really have any stake in the game. Their stake in the game is like a loyalty and a belief and an abstract idea that, and there's nothing more to it. I mean, there's people at the top who have something to lose, but most of these people, they just collect a paycheck and it's only their own delusions that they have to lose.
That's exactly it.
I'm gonna try to be more loving this week, Jack. I'm gonna try it for at least 10 days. That's what I'm getting from this stream. I want you to know
Thank you.
if by osmosis alone and nothing else, Jack, it's worn off on me. I'm gonna try it for about 10 days, and I'll report back to you how it works. It may not be on live stream; it may be in private. But
Please
have
do.
a good day, sir. I'll see you around.
Hey, sincerely, Denizen, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to offer a couple words for you, too. What Denizen pointed out is what I've been seeing. So thank you for for confirming what I'm seeing. Many people joining, they're literally projecting their behavior right onto me. And this is the way we work with each other. So I've been using this online interaction to study. And I think, Denizen, there's a lot of people are, all of us. You know what? Here, regardless of who you are, where you are in your life, number one, thank you. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for sharing me with you. And what I really hope to get across, I want to congratulate you. Okay? You've done well. You did well. You made it through those times of the past. And where you are today, I don't know your perspective. I don't know what you're seeing for the future. But if you humble yourself and allow your mind to drift into the unknown where you've not yet been, into the realm of different ideas, different beliefs, watching yourself, paying attention within you, these words can't. Yeah, that's the devilish game inside telling you you can't. If you believe a world of peace is possible, start within, of course. And from a place of peace, realize the goal that you want isn't to change the world, but the goal you want is to share that which you've already received. That's what I hope to do. I hope to share that which God has already allowed me to receive. And I fought it. I refused it. I wouldn't accept it. I wouldn't acknowledge it for a long time. But God allowed me to receive faith. Faith in me, faith in God, faith in love, faith in life, faith in the future. Beyond our wildest dreams. Anything is possible, brothers and sisters. Thank you. I'm going to wrap it up there. To escape from the world, escape from the past, recognize and align yourself with the future. Give your future to God and don't give up. Stay focused on love, life, growth, and improvement. Brothers and sisters, thank you again. Everyone who tuned in, please do subscribe if you haven't. Maybe invite others, and we will. Oh, and if you tuned in late, please check out some of the monologues. I do hope to share some joy and inspiration. Peace to everyone. Choose love. Peace for everyone. And live without fear. God bless you and us all.